Let's take a look at parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines the slopes are the same. So slopes are the same. Perpendicular lines. Slopes are negative reciprocals. So slopes are negative reciprocals. Let's look at our first problem here. It gives us m is equal to negative 4/3. And it says the slope of a line is given. Determine A, the slope of a line parallel to the line whose slope is given. Well, for A, parallel lines have the same slope. So this will be negative 4/3, same as that. Now B, the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose slope is given. Perpendicular. We're going to start with a given slope. We're going to write it in fraction form. Now this one's already in fraction form, so we don't have to do anything there. But if you had, like, for example, 5, you would do 5 over 1. You can always create a fraction by putting it over 1. Flip it. Top goes to bottom, bottom goes to top. That's a reciprocal. Reciprocal means fraction flipped. And then change its sign. Negative reciprocals. Flip it, change the sign. You'll find you won't have to write all these steps out. It's pretty simple. You think of it in fraction form if it start already in one. Flip it, change the sign. So our answer there would be 3/4. Second example here says determine whether the given linear equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we got negative 4x minus 2y equals 5, and 12x plus 6y is equal to negative 7. We've already indicated that the slope is what determines the parallel or perpendicular. Parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular or negative reciprocals. Well, we have to find the slope of these. Well, the easiest way is to write it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take the negative 2y over to the right side and the 5 over the left. Try and get y by itself. So we got negative 4x minus 5 equals 2y. Remember, when you take anything across your equals, your sign changes. The 5 becomes a negative 5. The negative 2y becomes a positive 2y. Well, try and get y by itself, so we'll divide everything by 2. So negative 4 divided by 2x minus 5 divided by 2 equals 2 over 2y. Now those cancel. And we get y is equal to negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2x minus 5/2. Now if it's in the slope-intercept form is when y is by itself, then your slope is whatever number is in front of your x, which is negative 2. Well, we want to do the same thing here. We want to get the y by itself. So I'm going to take the 12x, move it to the right side. So I got 6y is equal to negative 12x minus 7. Again, you take anything across the equals, the sign changes. Divide everything by 6. And 6's cancel. And negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2x minus 7/6. Now again, this is in slope-intercept form, so our slope is whatever number is before the x, which is negative 2. Now these two are the same. So these lines are parallel. Now if these were negative reciprocals, like this was negative 2 and this was 1/2, remember negative 2, you think of it in fraction form, negative 2 over 1. Flip it, change the sign, so it becomes 1 over negative 2 or positive 1/2. So if this is 1/2 here, then they would be perpendicular. Let's take a look at this one. I better start a new page. And let me write down all that information. It says, find the equation of the line with the given properties, express your answer in slope-intercept form, graph the lines. So it's parallel to y is equal to negative 2x plus 3, and passes through the point negative 3, 4. These are the same steps we saw before. We're wanting the slope-intercept form, so we need m and b. Our first step is to find m. And our first sub-step within that is write the given line in slope-intercept form. Solve for y, basically. Well, this one is already in slope-intercept form, so that's so good. Some of them you'll have to solve for y. And our second sub-step is to identify the slope if it's in slope-intercept form, then your slope is the number that's before your x. So slope would be negative 2. And then the third sub-step, parallel lines have the same slope, so the m we're trying to find is going to be negative 2. Step 2. Plug in the given point for x and y, and m from step 1 into y equals mx plus b, and solve for b. Well, if we're given a point, negative 3, 4, this is our x part and this is our y part. So into the equation, y is equal to mx plus b. We just said y is 4. M from 1c we said was negative 2. And x is negative 3. And plus b. Well, negative 2 times negative 3 is 6 plus b. Solving for b, so I take the 6 over. So we've got 4 minus 6 equals b, or b is equal to negative 2. Our third step, write your answer down. In step 1 we found m, step 2 we found b. So now we plug them in to y equals mx plus b. Well, m we said was negative 2, so we got negative 2x, and b we said was negative 2. So our answer is y is equal to negative 2x minus 2. Let's take a look at this one. It's parallel to 3x plus y equals 5, and it passes through the point negative 2, 6. Well, same steps as above. First step, find m. First sub-step is to write the given line in slope-intercept form. So we want to solve for y. Well, I'll take the 3x over, and it becomes a negative 3x. Remember, when you move anything across or equals, the sign changes. And that's in slope-intercept form. Now our second sub-step is to identify our slope. If you got it in slope-intercept form, your slope is equal to the number that's before your x, which is negative 3. And then our third sub-step, remember parallel lines have slopes that are the same, so m we're trying to find will be equal to negative 3. It'll match this. Our second step is plug in the given point for x and y. This is x and this is y. So put 6 in for the y, and m from step 1, which we said was negative 3, times x, which is negative 2, plus b. And then solve for b. Well, negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. And solving for b, so take 6 to the left side, so we get 6 minus 6 equals b, or b is equal to 0. Our third step, write down your answer. M we found from step 1 was negative 3, so we got y is equal to negative 3x, and b was 0, so plus 0, or our answer is just y is equal to negative 3x. We start a new page and we'll look at this next one. Perpendicular. Okay, so it's perpendicular to negative 8x plus 4y minus 1 equal to 0. Passes through the point negative 1, negative 3. My example dives right in with a hard one there, but I don't see any of the perpendicular above it, so, which is okay. You've seen the parallels, so that kind of guides you right into the working this problem. Okay, step 1. Find m. Our first sub-step is write the given line in slope-intercept form. Solve for y. So we got negative 8x plus 4y minus 1 equal to 0. I'm going to take the negative 1 to the right side, and I'll take the negative 8x to the right side. So we get 4y is equal to 8x plus 1. Again, you take anything across or equals, your sign changes. Try and get y by itself, so we'll divide both sides, or everything, by 4, I should say. When you deal with lines, you like to do them separate like this. Those 4's cancel and gives us y. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so we got 2x plus 1/4. And that's in slope-intercept form. Our second sub-step is to identify our slope. So our slope is 2. If you got in slope-intercept form, your slope is whatever number is before your x. And C, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. So, we're going to start with a slope from 1c, 1b. Try that again. So Start with the slope from 1b. Up here we said the slope is 2. We're going to write it in fraction form. If it's not already in fraction form, put it over 1. I'm going to flip it. Top goes to bottom, bottom goes to top. That's the reciprocal part. Reciprocal is fraction flipped. And change its sign. So the m we're trying to find is going to equal to negative 1/2. Okay, step 2. Plug in the given point for xy and m from 1c into y equals mx plus b, and solve for b. Well, we're given this point right here. So this is our x part and this is our y part. So y is negative 3 and x is negative 1. So negative 3, m we said was negative 1/2, and I believe I said x was negative 1 plus b. Let me go up and double check that. Yep. And then we want to solve for b. Negative 1/2 times negative 1 is a positive 1/2 plus b. Take the 1/2 to the left side, becomes a negative 1/2. Now this is a mixed number, but you have to be careful with it. We got negative 3 minus 1/2. When you handle the mixed number part of it, we're going to take the negative 3 times 2 gives us negative 6, add the negative 1, and that gives us negative 7 over 2. If you got a negative out in front of your fraction, you have to make sure it applies to your top part when you do the mixed number rule. So again, we take this negative that's out in front of the fraction and put it up with a 1. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, plus a negative 1 gives us negative 7. Our denominator stays the same. And then step 3 was to write our answer. Now, our answer is of this form. Y is equal to mx plus b. M we said was negative 1/2. So plug that in. We got y is equal to negative 1/2 x, and b is negative 7/2. And that's our answer. Now some of these ask you to graph them. I'm not graphing them. Graphing a line is pretty boring. I think this is the exciting part. Okay, let's look at the next problem. These next two are oddball cases. Okay, it's parallel to x equals negative 5, and it passes through the point 7, 1. What makes these oddball cases is there's just one letter here, one variable. This just has an x, doesn't have both variables. Now parallel to x equals negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here's negative 5. That's a vertical line at negative 5. Okay, it's parallel to this, and it passes through 7, 1. 6, 7, 1. So here's 7, 1. It's parallel to this, so it means this has to be a vertical line. So this is what we're looking for. It's parallel to that and passes through this point. Well, it says express your answer in slope-intercept form if you can. Our answer here, which says find equation in line, our answer is x equal to 7. Remember, our vertical line is x equals a number. these oddball ones, it's best to don't try to think of a step-by-step to work them. Just graph them, see what it looks like. That's going to be your easiest way to do them. And this one says perpendicular to y is equal to 2, and it passes through point 3, negative 1. Okay. Y is equal to 2. That's going to be horizontal line at 2. Then it passes through 3, negative 1. 3, negative 1 is right here. Now it's perpendicular to that, which means it's going to be a vertical line right here, because perpendicular means it forms a sharp corner, 90 degrees. Well, if I think what this represents, this is x is equal to 3. And that's our answer. And that's the last problem.